in New South Wales, Australia. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'm just going to pop my chat up here so I can see, excuse me, who's popping on. If you're new to my channel, please jump on, say hello, let us know who you are and where you're from. And if you could like my channel, that would be fantastic. Okay, we're going to get started pretty much straight away today. So let me turn my camera down to the bottom. So let me bring up this. Okay, so this is the Sale-A-Bration Catalogue. So if you haven't received the new mini catalogue or the Sale-A-Bration Catalogue, you don't have a demonstrator, you live here in Australia and you would like a copy of it, please let me know and I can get some out to you. So how does the Sale-A-Bration work? Well, Sale-A-Bration Catalogue is our main once a year sale that we have. For every $100 you spend, you can get to choose a product for free. Every $200 you spend, you can choose other products for free. So there's items in here for when you spend $100, you could choose that stamp set, or you can get the designer series paper. This one here, which is spend $100, and you can get, it's a card kit. So this is when you spend $100 before postage and handling. But as I said before, there are some items in here that you need to spend up to $200, such as this one here, which is the one we're going to play with today. So this is the heart-shaped bundle. So when you spend $200 before postage and handling, you can choose this particular product for free. So what do you get in this product? Let me show you what it is. So we've got a set of heart-shaped stamps. So we have this wreath in a heart. We've got the stamps here, which is 3 flowers. We've got a little leaf, and we've got 4 different sentiments. So my heart loves your heart. My thoughts are all heart-shaped, just because I care and a thank you. But also you get the dies that go with this. So I've already taken the dies out of their sheet, but let me just pull them out and so you can see there's not that many in here. So you get a wreath shaped die. You get a die that will cut the little leaves. You get a little banner, so you can pop your sentiment onto a banner if you wish. This outline one here cuts out that set of 3 flowers. And then you have 2 more, if I can just pop them out of here, standalone dies. One cuts a little branch with like little buds on it, and the last one just cuts a little flower. So this is what we're going to play with tonight. So let me pull in what, I'm going to pop these all in here so I don't lose them. And let me pull in the cardstock that I've got here ready to go. I'm also going to be using the Elements of Text stamps. Now this is one that comes in the exclusives. So if you go onto my online store and go onto online exclusives, you will find a range of stamps and dies and bundles that aren't in any of the catalogues. You can only purchase them via the online exclusives. So this one here is a really fantastic one. It's got 3 different types of script in different shapes, and it's got 2 stamps that give you splatters. So great for giving you texture on both your cards and your scrapbooking. So what I've got here is a card base. I don't need that one. So I've got a card base here, which I have cut at 10.5 by 29.9. If you're in Imperial letter size cardstock, then that is 4.25 inches by 11 inches. So you'd score that at 5.5. Okay. Then I have got 2 pieces of Petunia Pop, and I've cut both of those pieces at 10 by 14.4. Now, I can't give you the imperial measurements for that offhand, I'm sorry, but I will try to get these up hopefully on my blog later on this week. Then I have 2 pieces of cardstock, which is in the basic beige, and that is 9.7 by 14.1. So one set of that is going to be for my insert and one set is for my card front. So that's a matte and card front. I've got a piece of old olive, which is roughly 10 by 10. I've got another scrap just in case I need it. And then I've got a scrap of the petunia pop, which we're going to cut some flowers out. I've got a couple of scraps here of bubble bath, which we're also going to cut some flowers out, and another piece of basic beige, which we're going to do our sentiment on. So let's get started, and I'm going to start by folding my card base in half. I've already scored it, and I just need my bone folder here. So I'm going to fold this in half, just lining up my edges and making sure that that's a nice crisp fold along the top there. So I'm going to grab these 2 pieces and I'm just going to pop my card base and my 2 mats to one side for the moment, because what I want to do is I want to do some stamping on this piece here. So I thought I would do the stamp these images here. So I'm going to need a block. Now let me just work out what size block I will use. And I haven't popped the backings on here as yet. And I think I might use this one here. So a good way to do this, especially since it is quite a largish stamp, is that I'm going to take my sticker off this sheet, leaving the backing on. This is the way I do largish stamps, because I find I get, I find sometimes when I'm trying to put the sticker sheet onto my red rubber stamp, it sometimes stretches a little bit out of shape. Probably the way I'm doing it. So this is just a really good way of doing this. I'm going to peel the backing off. This always gives me a really nice finish on my stamps. And then I'm going to take the backing off this one here. And I'm going to take my stamp. Actually, I'm going to pop that down that way and take my block to my stamp. So I want that going upwards. And then I can see my stamp on the other side, line it all up and push down. I don't get any air bubbles or anything doing it that way. So that will now peel off, and it's just like that. So we don't need all those pieces, and I will finish those later on. Now, I'm thinking of, I've got some inks here. The ink pads I've got is Petunia Pop, Bubble Bath, Old Olive, Basic Beige, and Crumb Cake. Now, I sort of have got a little bit of an idea of what I'm going to do, but it's still a little bit up in the air, so just bear with me. And I think I might do this in my Basic Beige, because all I'm wanting to do is add some texture. Now, I do want, whoops, don't want to lose those dies. Let me pop all that back on there so I don't lose those. I need a scrap of paper. I'm just going to take that out and use this. So I've just taken the foam mat out of there because it's not a photopolymer stamp, but I will be using the photopolymer a little bit later on, and we're going to ink this up. And I'm just going to stamp this a couple of times onto my background, just probably about 4 times, just to give it a little bit of texture on there. And then the next thing that I want to do, and I will need my foam mat for this, I want to stamp this wreath on there as well. Hello, Glenda, how are you? Thank you for joining me tonight. So let me just pop all those over there, and we need this big wreath here. I'm just very gently just peeling that off, because the one thing you don't want to do is stretch your stamp. Pop that face down and grab another block. This block is just going to fit it. Pick that up. I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean, because this is the first time I'm using it. So I'm just cleaning that on my chamois. Your chamois do stain when you clean your stamps off on it. And I'm just going to also give that a rub down on my hand. But I do wash them out so that it's just stained, and the colour on my chamois won't be transferred. Okay, so I want to stamp this in Old Olive. Actually, wondering if I might stamp this in Crumb Cake instead, because I'm going to die cut the wreath in Old Olive. And I want this to be showing through. So this is my Crumb Cake. Now I'm just going to test this on here. Lovely. So I'm going to, and that's darker than the basic beige I've already used on here. And I'm just going to stamp this a little bit closer to the top. And in the center, just hold that down for a few seconds to let that ink penetrate to the cardstock. That's such a beautiful, fine, delicate stamp. Okay. So that's my stamping on this piece. Now you can, if you wanted to, roughen up the edges, because I am giving this a little bit of a vintage type look. So I'm just going to run my scissors over the edges of this, and you will get paper fluff doing this. And all I'm doing is just giving this a little bit of a shabby sort of look. And you can do it as much or as little as you want. Now I can see, Glenda, you're saying hello to Jenny, so I'm assuming that Jenny's on here watching. Her name hasn't come up. So if you're there, Jenny, hello, how are you? So I'm just going to get rid of that fluff, put it on my floor, and I'll vacuum that up later. So as you can see, that has just really roughened those edges, and of course, if you wanted to, you can give that a real good fold on those corners. Now, because I've done that on that one, here's my piece of Petunia Pop. This is going to sit onto there like that. I might just go around the edges of my Petunia Pop, but not as rough as what I've done on the basic beige. Just so then it's following suit a little bit, but not as much. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some dimensionals on the back of that. Just close up this old olive since I'm not going to be using that right now. Pop some dimensionals on the back of this one. Oh, it's starting to rain. We've had such a beautiful day. We had a massive, almighty storm here last night. So woke up this morning to everything being a little bit wet. Now I'm just going to lift this up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And because I've only got a couple of mil difference all the way around, just want that, just move that over just that little bit more. Pop that down. Now I am thinking of adding some linen thread to this, but I'm going to add it on the top. So I'm going to pop this to one side for the time being. The other thing I want to do with stamping, while I've got the stamping here, is stamp a sentiment. And the sentiment I thought I would use would be thank you. And I'm going to stamp that in Petunia Pop. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle there. That's looking good. Now the other thing I thought I might do, and I'm just going to grab a blending brush here and bubble bath, because I am going to add some bubble bath flowers to this. So I just thought I might just add a little bubble bath to this. I should have done this before we'd heated it down, but that's okay. All I want to do is just add and it can be darker and lighter in places, because as I said, this is going to be a little bit of a vintage style card. So I don't want it so clean looking. Just taking that all the way around. Maybe just get a little bit on those edges there. And just a bit around that heart there. Now this would be a good stamp for Valentine's Day, or for a wedding, or for engagement, or thank you like I'm using here. There's quite a bit you could do with it. Hello, Nicole. That's okay. Glad to have you on here with us. Okay, so there we are. So that's our card front so far. So we're still yet to add that to our card base. So I might just do that now. So I'm going to pop some liquid glue on the back of this. And then pop that onto there. Just sliding it around until I get it into the spot where I want it. That looks good there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece, which is my insert, and grab the basic beige again. And we're just going to pop that onto that corner. Grab the bubble bath. And this will just tie some of these colours because I'm going to use the bubble bath cardstock and cut out some of those flowers. So I wanted it to all tie in together and have it there. There's a reason for everything to be there. So the only other thing I'm going to do is with that crumb cake, again, heat that up, and I'm just going to pop a portion of that heart wreath on there. You're tossing up about whether to get this one or not. Yeah, I sort of tossed up a little bit, but then I sort of, just decided, no, I do like it. And I spent the money to be able to get it. So decided why not? It's free. You just got to spend the money in the first place, which is the hard part. Just going to pop that onto its mat. Just going to give that a really good rub because there was some glue globules in there. See if I can just move that down a little bit. Yeah, I can. There we go. And that's going to go on the inside. I love the delicacy of some of these stamps. They're just so delicate, and I just really love the look of that. I am going to cut a piece to go over the top, but whether I end up using it or not, I don't know, because I am going to cut it out of the old olive, and at the moment I'm sort of thinking the old olive could be a little bit too bright, but let's just keep going. And we can also cut it out of maybe a bit of bubble bath. I've got some more cardstock of that. So let's just pop all this to one side and let's do a little bit of die cutting and just see where this card takes us, because that's really what I'm doing tonight, is just letting the card itself tell me which way it wants to go, because one of those things, I'm flying by the seat of my pants again. Hello, Lucia. How are you? And just working out how this is all going to look. Now, this needs to be trimmed down a little bit. It's going to be too big to go into my cut and emboss machine. So we want to cut that, and I might, while I'm here, cut some of these little leaves as well. Just run this through. Looks like I'm going to need some new cutting plates soon. This one's starting to crack. And sometimes when they get so scratched up, it leaves a scratched impression on your work too. So Don't want that. So let's just have a look at this, because this is a delicate die. Isn't it beautiful? It's just so light and delicate. So let's just pop that over that, because I did consider stamping that in the old olive, but we might just cut. I want to cut a few more of those little leaves, just so then we've got them. How was your trip in Tasmania? Do I fill up my plates? Yes, I do. I mainly have one for the bottom, but I will flip them that way, like up and down, not necessarily top to bottom. So as you can see, this one here is really grotty. But when I replace the plates, probably at the moment I will replace the top plate, but then make this plate here, which is actually the one with the crack in it, my bottom plate, because that's just getting so disgusting and filthy that, yeah, I'm probably going to throw that one away, pop that one on the bottom and put a clean one on top. But then, as I said, I do flip these backwards and forwards. So, but I don't flip them top to bottom. I always keep the dirtiest one on the bottom and the cleanest one on top. I hope that makes sense. Let me just take a pick tool. And I'm just going to cut one more. And the thing is too, you move them around, move your dies in different positions on your plate as well. So one section doesn't get overly scratched up. It's just in the same spot all the time. So which is always a good thing to do. I don't always do it, but it is something they suggest. Oh, that's wonderful to catch up. So are you originally from Tasmania, or you just got family in Tasmania? Okay, so that is going on to that, but I'm looking at that. I don't know whether I'm overly happy with it. I feel like I'm losing all that really nice detail there. Maybe if I had have done that one in the green and then pop like a darker green and had this in a lighter, don't know. But what I might do, I have got bubble bath here. Let's see if I've got a scrap piece here that's going to be big enough to take that die. And I'll cut one in that. Or maybe just. And we'll just see what this is going to look like over the top, because I was going to do flowers in this. So again, it's a case of may or may not use. Yep, I can offset it. That is true. But I'm going to give myself a few little choices here. I'm going to cut some flowers in a moment with my scraps of all of this. Just pop this one out and have a look. I think I probably would more offset it if I hadn't have stamped that right in the middle. I mean, you could, so that could be quite pretty if you brought it downwards rather than offset it to the side. Actually, that is quite nice. When I look at that and look onto my screen, that is very pretty. And that was the other that I was thinking, is maybe even doing it in that. But I just feel it's going to have a lot of pink. No, I think I like the green. And I do like that offset, probably more down and just very slightly across. Okay, great plan there, Glenda, thank you. So let's just continue our die cutting. So let's remove that and remove that. And what I want to do is die cut some flowers. Let's see if I can get any out of this. These scrappy pieces here. That I may not be able to, but this piece I can definitely get one or two out of. That down there. Let's get another one here. You love that heart? Hello, Sheila. How are you? Thank you for jumping on. Get another one out of there. Sometimes I wish there was more of these little flowers. You can cut multiples out at once. Because I love these little flowers with all the details. Okay. So I'm just going to grab the petunia pop and let's cut a few out in this. Yeah, as quick as that rain came a minute ago, it looks like it's all gone. We had the biggest storm last night. Well, last night, early morning, some stage or other. It was quite interesting because I've got a friend who lives at a little place called The Rock, which is out the other side of Wagga. And she said that they had a big storm during the night out there as well. So whether the storm we had here sort of travelled down that way or it was a different one. I think with all the heat and everything, we've just had continual rain this last week, so it's actually nice seeing a bit of sun, but it's very humid and muggy here today. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get more rain maybe during the night. Just reading the comments here. You've got an electric one, have you, Nicole? What do you think of them? I think my problem would be if I've got an electric one, I wouldn't have anywhere to plug it in. I've got power cords and power leads leading everywhere. Okay, we've got 3 of each one. Actually, I might just do a 4th one of each colour. we'll have a play. I'll just do a fourth one anyway of each colour and then come back. You love watching the summer storms at night. Yeah, I do too, but that's if I'm awake. This one woke us up. It was just so loud. It was right overhead. And I don't know what time it was. You know when you're woken up suddenly and you think it's, oh yeah, it's morning, it's time to get up. And my husband turned around and said, no, not time to get up yet. Go back to sleep. And it's like, oh. But the storm was so loud. It just, just woke us up during the night. But I used to love sitting at Manly Beach watching the storms out over the ocean at night time when I lived in Manly as a young adult. Used to love that. Okay. One more thing to die cut, and that is going to be my sentiment. So there's my sentiment, which we've stamped already. I'm going to pop that right in the middle. Feel a little bit like this sentiment, the cut is too big. So I'm going to try. Let's see if I can do this successfully. So I'm just going to do a partial die cut. See if we can move this die along and make it smaller. So let's go to there. Everyone cross your fingers because I very rarely do this because I'm always worried I'll never get it done right. Let's see if, I don't know whether I like, bought some new masking tape. I don't think I like it. Nope, I don't. It's supposed to be low tack. It really isn't. Okay, let's see. I'll go back to my old one that I usually use, which is this one, and let's see if I can. Any tips on doing this? Sheila, you're in Christchurch. Where in Australia am I? Okay, I'm in the Southern Highlands, which is about an hour and a half outside of Sydney, or you can pretty much say halfway between Sydney and Canberra. So I'm a little town called Mossvale. The Southern Highlands is an area. It's very, very pretty little spot. It's not far from Bowral, if you know the areas around here. There's Bowral and Berrima are two big tourist areas, and I'm probably about 5 minutes from Berrima, 5 minutes from Bowral, 10, 15 minutes from Mittagong. Okay, let's see if this worked. I think it did. But I did wrap that around there, so let's see if I can peel that off the back. There we go. So I've made that a lot smaller. So there's my, so basically I die cut it to about halfway along, then moved that, keeping it in line with the rest of it, and just moved it where I wanted it to go, and then finished die cutting. So it wasn't as hard as what I thought it was going to be. So there you go. Taught myself a new technique. Your daughter is in Sydney and your grandson is in ADFA. Okay. My son was in ADFA a few years back. He's left the Defence Force now, but he did his training at ADFA. So I'm sure he's enjoying it there. Is he in the Navy, Air Force, or Army? You've travelled through this area, Nicole? Yeah, it is a very pretty area. We love it. We call it our little place, little bit of heaven. But it is a beautiful spot. But my son, who was at ADFA, he lives in Canberra now. Well, ADFA's in Canberra, but he still lives in Canberra and working outside of the Defence Force now. And He's loving it, loves Canberra, which is quite interesting because Canberra is very much a government town in lots of ways. Okay, so let's pop this on. Since we've worked out we're going to offset this a little bit. So I'm just popping a dot on some of the leaves of the glue and just trying to add just a tiny weeny little bit. So you don't want too much, but just want to have enough just to hold this on. So what part of Sydney, Sheila, is your daughter? Okay, so we're just going to offset that. So we're bringing it down and just across slightly. So that's now adhered down like that. An officer cadet in the Navy. So what is he going to be doing in the Navy? Because in the Navy you choose, your job is chosen for you, or you choose your job before you start your training, unlike the other parts of defence. Okay, so what I want is this, my mat, and I probably would normally use a thicker mat, but I'm not quite sure where I've popped it at the moment. So this will do. And what I do want, I don't think I've got it handy. Let's see what else I've got here. I can use this. I want a stylus and I want a thicker end of my stylus. So this is the stylus that came with the scoreboard. So you've got a very fine tip end and you've got a heavy end. Rosebery, okay, yep, I know that area. Lived in Sydney for quite a while. So what we're going to use is the heavier end. You've also got these styluses with your take a pick tool. And all I want to do is just add a little bit of shaping to my flower. So I'm just going to rub that in the middle. You would normally rub it up the petal as well, but this has got a little slit in it. So it's already been weakened a little bit. So I'm just rubbing into that center just to give it a little bit of a cup shape. So we're just going to add all of these onto here. Right way up. And we're just going to add a bit of shaping. He will go to the US and train for submarine. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Sounds very interesting. My son was colourblind, so it left him very limited on what he could do in the Navy. Couldn't do what he wanted to do, but anyway, ended up doing, what did he get employed as? I can never think what it was called, logistics officer. And then when he did his degree in cybersecurity and decided that that's where he wanted to go. But unfortunately, because he was employed to do the other job, they wouldn't put him into cybersecurity, even though that's what his training was. So he decided to get out. But you know what? The Navy was good for him. The Navy the Defence Force on a whole was just really fantastic for him. They told him when to get out of bed. They told him what to eat. They told him where he was going to go. And I think it really grounded him. So, yeah, best thing he ever did. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on here somewhere. And we're going to pop some of these flowers. Now, I do have the antique pearls that we've got in the mini catalogue that came with what did it come with? Comes with the Storybook Friends. And I'm thinking these little ones could look quite good on the inside of those. Now I'm just trying to find my take a pick tool. I did put it away. That's unusual. These come in 3 different sizes, but I just want that small one just to go on the inside of that cup. Now, at the moment, I'm going to only pop these onto a few of them because I may not. It was sort of like, do I double up some of these flowers? Because sometimes I like to double them up a bit. Just giving those some nice little centers. I'll show you what I mean by doubling them up. So if we grab one of these and we sit one inside the other, it just gives it a little bit of a fuller flower. But I don't think I'm going to do that because I actually quite like them like that. Now, I do want to put just a couple more of these on. It does. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got 4 wonderful boys and they've all got very good ethics and all that sort of thing. But it was just, yeah, for Hayden, it was good for him. He might not always agree with me, but I could see how it helped him a lot. So now let's grab my linen thread, which I've still got sitting here from the other day. Grab one of these ones, which is already open. And I do want this is my bow maker, which a friend of mine made for me. And I'm just going to wrap that around there twice because I want a double bow. Maybe I'll end up with 3 actually. And I'm just going to tie that up in a knot there. Yep, I've ended up wrapping that around 3 times. Oops. Just pulled that out a little bit. That's okay. This is going to give me just a little pretty little bow. So we'll put some mini dimensionals on the back of that sentiment. At the moment, I'm just going to pop one at each end. Haven't taken the backings off that as yet. You like my little bow maker? Okay, I might just pop that one more in there. I think that's going to sit nicely there. Now it's where is my bow can fit. I think it's not going to go underneath it, I think on the outside. So I'm going to glue this down. So I'm going to take the backings off these. Pop that there. Now, let's have a look. That's it. Don't want to cover up all that beautiful, delicate one we've got underneath there completely. I do want to have that one going there. Okay, so I like those. So let's just pop these in here. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on the back of that. Whoops, that's a bit too much. Pop that one about there. Pop that underneath that sentiment a bit. Because we've sort of popped it up, it's allowing those petals just to lift that little bit. Let's pop this one over here. We do need to add another one because at the moment we've got even numbers. We do like to have odd numbers. Put a little bit of glue on the tip of these. Sometimes this is where a pair of tweezers would come in handy. You just grab these ones. These ones here came with the, I can never get these ones right. These ones came with the embossing buddy and all of that. Let's just pop another one of these. Whoops. I think just about there. And I'm going to pop a little bit of glue right on top. So that can sit there. And then I need a glue dot. You can't do bows. Well, that's a shame. Is that just because of, I think you were saying before, the use of your hands? It's just not easy to do. Okay, so I'm just going to now pop this one right over the top there. Trim those off on that. Just give that a good push down in there. And I think that will be it. We could pop another couple of flowers in there. Let me just have a quick look. I don't usually like making it too bulky on the inside here. Oh, that will look quite nice. Just have just that one little flower, I think. So we'll pop that. Come on, leaf, go in there. That's it. Put a little bit more glue on top of it. That's the last one of these. And that can go on there. You can't get your fingers and your thumbs to coordinate. Well, that's I end up tying a lot of bows for people. But yeah, sorry to hear that. Okay, so there you go. So there's my little bit of a shabby card. So it's just my thank you card using the, where is that bundle? Let me just bring it in here again. So what we've used is the antique pearls. We've used, got bits and pieces here everywhere. Just let me move these out of the road. Just carefully closing that up. So we've got the antique pearls. We've got the heart-shaped stamps, and the dies are inside there. And then the other one that we've used today, of course, is, move all that up the top there. I'll keep all those little bits and pieces for another project. So I've used the elements of text, the heart-shaped stamps and dies. So this one here is an online exclusive. This one is on the mini catalogue. When you spend $200, not the mini catalogue, sorry, the Sale-A-Bration Catalogue, spend $200 and you can get the stamp set and the dies for free. The antique pearls are in the mini catalogue, and there is my completed card. So just a little one, just very much keeping it very simple, but just with lots of elements and just adding a bit of texture can make a really good card. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. And I will see you hopefully on Friday. So please like my YouTube channel, please. And that way we can stay in touch and I can connect with you. If you're not a demonstrator or you don't have a demonstrator and you would like some of these catalogues and you're here in Australia, please let me know and I can get the catalogues out to you. So thank you again very much for joining me. It's been wonderful to have you on here. Always great for the chat. And we'll see you on Friday. Thank you very much. Bye for now.